Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear. We are here for another session of Community Conversations. Awesome. This is our Technomatics virtual user group. And today's topic is a popular one. We're talking about Python inside of plant simulation. So the Python interface custom statistics. Which is great. As you all probably already know, our speaker for this session is Mr. Stefan Vongsel. He is a freelance simulation expert. His work with simulation has began back in 1999, so he's done a ton of projects, training sessions. He has 5 books published on plant simulation. Soon we'll have a 6th book. And he is definitely one of the leading contributors to our Siemens PLM community. Big steps for today that are included. He's going to show you how to collect the data, and he's going to be using Matplotlib to create diagrams. So there'll probably be a few other elements in there as well. But after that, we are live, as we are always. Stefan will be showing these things live, and then we will have a live Q&A as soon as he finishes the presentation, the tutorial. So get your questions ready. Of course, you can put them in the chat, but you can also raise your hand using the button in the top middle of your controls, and we will be happy to take you off mute, because sometimes it's just easier to ask the question out loud. So that's all for my introduction. Stefan, feel free to share your screen.
Hello again. Today we will create a very simple model and make the statistics with Python. And I also want to show in this topic how useful until today is AI for creating stuff for plant simulation, and of course for Python. And so I have to deal with a lot of frames here. So we start with a very, very simple basic model. I want to have a source, one station, buffer, a second station, and the drain. And this should be for quite a basic scenario where we want to know, okay, how big this buffer needs to be to fulfill my requests here. Set the first station to a cycle time, to a process time of 2 minutes. The buffer should have no capacity, a capacity of -1. So it can. Next station should have processing time of 1 minute. And we add a failure here. Availability 50% with 1 minute MTDR. And then we need the experiment manager. To create a couple of experiments. And I want to have later then another diagram for the results of the experiment manager. And so we need to adjust the experiment manager. I want to change the buffer capacity, and I want to show drain stratnum in as output data. So it's very, very simple. Output value is drain point stratnum in or stratnum out. we use input values. Input value should be buffer point capacity. Okay. I define experiments. Then the experiments, you can make more. It looks nicer if you have 12. And this is our basic model for today. Okay, I forgot the end time for the event controller. End time is 1 day, it's enough. And then start all this stuff. Oh, there's not good here. Oh, I have to look my original to one. Maybe it's not enough time. I guess I have set only 1 hour instead of 1 day. Yes. Okay, 1 day should be the duration of the experiment manager. And it should, yes, it should give another. So, and I don't like this one. This diagram I don't like. I want to have it in another way. And so maybe Python could have a better representation of this data. And this is one of the of the fields where you can use Python here in Plan Simulation. We can use Python in at least 3 different ways. The first way is to acquire data and prepare data for the simulation. This would be another webinar. The second and really bad idea is to replace SimTalk with Python. Python is quite slow, and so this is really a bad idea. And the third area is really create better charts with the data you have. There are many libraries in Python to create really good charts, and this we want to do now. And for this we need to follow. You need to install Python. I wrote it into the forum. The Python module you can get here and click on Manage Class Library. It's not by default in the toolbar of information flow, and so you need to make your check mark here at the Python module in information flow. And it's new in 2404, so if you work with an older version, then it's not available for you. And then it's this pi symbol here, and then you can take it here into your frame. And if you open it, you have some remarks how to access different plan simulation objects. But one advantage of Python is it's really all the big or large language models, AI models out there are quite well trained for Python. And so we can use AI to create most of the Python code. And I try this with a lot of different large language models. For today, I want to use one European model, and this model, okay, I have closed all the stuff. And the model I want to use is Mistral. You can use other big, you can use ChatGPT, for instance. Mistral is, you don't need to pay for it. And it's quite good for plan simulation. Okay, I need to create a question here for the AI. For instance, create a Python script where one-dimensional array is plotted as line diagram. Something like this. And then you can start here. The AI and the AI will write to us a code with sample data. We need to replace the sample data then with real data. And here it's another interesting library. It's NumPy. It creates sample data if you need one for simulation with different distributions. But here we need to install first matplotlib here for Python. So we can use this for create our charts. And this is one step maybe you have to do if you want to follow me. And for this, there's a script here in Python, in the Python installation. The script is pip. And with pip, you can install Python modules for your Python installation. So you need to go to the Python installation path here. And you find in this in Python installation, you find folder scripts. Yes, and here you need the PowerShell window. And here we need to install I don't linked pipe in my operation system, and so I need to call it in this way. And the command is install, and you need to specify the library you want to install. And here it's matplotlib. Oh, what's wrong? have already installed.
Stefan, there are a couple of comments about the code. I think Dave was saying pip3 instead of pipe3.
Pip. Oh, so I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Pip. Yes, pip, nicht pipe. Okay. Pip 3.13 install. It's live. Install matplotlib. It's looked better. I have already matplotlib. Should look like this. It downloads the package and installs this, and now I can use this, and we can switch back to our AI if I find it. Yeah. Okay, I copy this stuff here from Mistral. If you have a non-paid version of ChatGPT, it's smaller. It's not. It's the formatting of this diagram. It's not so extended, and you need to pay money if you want to have a better version of this. Okay. And now I input this into my Python module. Okay, I don't need NumPy here. I don't want to create data, and so I can this sample data I don't need here. What I need is array in Python here, and you can make it like this one. And then I need to look, okay, what data I want to show. I want to have here in the experiment manager, hold down the Alt key and double click to the experiment manager. So you find the results in the table detailed results here. Here are the results, and I want to have the data from the first column. And these data I want to show in the Python diagram, and so I need to load first this data into a Python array. I use data because here this sample program use data, and so I use data here as a variable, and then I need numerous. And numerous I read from Plan Simulation. I deleted all the stuff from Plan Simulation here. With current, I can access the current frame, and then I can start with the path in Plan Simulation, experiment manager. The table is detailed results, and this is just SimTor code here. And then I collect this data And for this, I need yeah, a loop. I can use a loop here in Python. It starts also with 4. I need a variable, and then it's a little bit strange. Yeah. Okay, this is the header of the loop. Need a double point, and then you need to place this one tab inside this loop, and with append, I can add new elements here to this array, and I need my address here, current experiment manager, detailed results. Oh. The array starts with 0 here, and so I need to be careful with I starts with 0, but in Blend Simulation I need to increase this value because my table in Blend Simulation starts with 1. Okay, and so I have transferred the data into a array in Python, and then we need to have a look here into the Python code. Depends on the AI you use. It's up to 90% accurate. It's for Blend Simulation, it's worse. Okay, this is okay. It's only but oh, you can also make subplots. There, he has here a subplot inside. So I need only plot. These are the data. Then what kind of marker you want to have, line style, color. If you go here with F1, then you should come directly to the Python's search and help, but not, yeah, bad example. Titles, okay, we have here, we can need to change the title of the diagram. It's parts per day, X and Y label, and we can switch on the plot. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, you should save your model before you start Python. It's really likes to crash. And with import, you can show this. You can start this Python script, and okay, need to be carefully. You need to close this window because Blend Simulation is hold if you show this. And I have here some more you can ask more questions to the AI, and then it gives you more formats. Oh, cannot copy it from one. Okay, please close this window here. There are so many options here for grid, for instance. You can define the line style. And so the grid looks a little bit different. And we can add the numbers here. I have selected from the documentation some settings. You can you find really a good documentation for Matplotlib in the internet, and now it looks like this here. We have the values here on the points, and have points at the at the line and so on. And here's the code again. Yes, and you need really to be careful that you close this Python windows again and again. And okay, this is basically how you can do this. You will find you have access to the complete ecosystem of Python here, and can create charts. You can also create a byte output and write files from this chart, and so you can include these charts into the HTML report. Normally, you can also create PDF files out of the HTML report, but the PDF library of Python, it's not running. We need to wait for the next update. Yes, and this is one area where you can use Python. So one short example, additional example for AI. One moment. I have prepared here one example for a question to a large language model, and I want to ask one basic plan simulation question to Mistral. And the question is, write a Technomatic's plan simulation SimTalk program where the processing time of a station is set from a data out of a table depend on the name of the movable unit. And somewhere has trained this model for plan simulation. It's SimTalk 1.0, but it's quite nice. ChatGPT creates really a mess, and the Chinese model, it's also trained for plan simulation, but it's not so good as here Mistral. And you have a lot of explanations, and the explanation is right in most cases. And I guess okay, it's plan simulation, it's SimTalk 1.0, and it cannot know the path. Yes, and yeah, in each case you need to correct this, but it gives quite a good base for SimTalk programming. Okay, one more I have prepared for you. And this is what you don't do with Python. Python is an interpreter language. I do programming since almost 40 years. And in the past, I used to differ between programming languages and scripting languages. And Python is not a real programming language. It's a scripting language. You have an interpreter, and the interpreter translates Python into something else. And then it will be compiled and executed. And this interpreter stuff that each Python program needs to be interpreted and then executed, this causes, some speed leakage. And you can find a lot of arguments in the internet that say, okay, our computer are so fast, and Python you use for server-side programming stuff and so on, and nobody uses Python for real applications. So we have a problem because we are one case where the programming needs to be fast, really fast. And I made a small model here. I need to activate the profiler. It's just here. I have a program that reads a proc time from a table and sets this into a station. And the same I have here in Python. Quite the same. It's a method, and this method sets for the partner reads the proc time from a table and sets this proc time in the station. It's quite the same. And now I made some 2 runs here. Yeah, one moment, it's not. $10,000 days, so we have something to compare. And profiler data, it took 27 or 28 seconds. And now I try this for the second variant with the Python. I reset the profiler. And then I switch to Python and try it again with Python. And it takes longer. It takes longer. And now it's 33 seconds, but it's not right. I guess the distance is much bigger, but I need to reset it in the right way. Reset profiler. There. Right again. Yes, it's here 18 seconds, and with Python is 33 seconds. It's almost double the time. And if you have more complex programs, then Python will slow down your simulation much more. And so it's not a good idea to use Python instead of SimTorque inside the simulation during the simulation runs. This is a really bad idea. Okay, so that was the first webinar for Python. I prepared two more. One is how to connect Python with a database. So you don't need the interface package. And a second one is how to integrate Python and plan simulation in a web service, in a web application. And this is a little bit more the look behind the curtain, because Python is then running as a CGI, Common Gateway Interface program on a web server. And you can use plan simulation in the background on the server and can create so your web applications with plan simulation in the background. Okay, that's it. Some questions?
Yeah, feel free to raise a hand if you'd like to come off mute and ask a question. And then I do see, yeah, there's some comments, I think, in the chat, but definitely feel free to type a question in the chat as well. You should see on your screen the URL for the Plant Simulation Virtual User Group page in our Siemens software forums. So this is the community forums here. You can actually click on that URL if you haven't been there, definitely go. And you'll also see on the screen, it's showing you how to follow the topic or subscribe to that topic, and then where to click to make sure that you receive emails. And so this area of the forums is very specifically for Stefan's tutorials. We do have one other super user who will be sharing some more on AGVs with us. And so his sessions will go in there as well, but these are only plant simulation, using Technomatics, the tutorials, and registration for tutorials. That is the only thing that is there, and you're able to ask questions in that space about this topic and get follow-up even on previous sessions. So I do have the 2 dates up there. So usually it is twice a month, and we'll continue that in February. So Stefan is doing a session on sequential workers. So just giving some information on controls for those. And then, as I mentioned, one of our other super users is going to come in and do some more on AGVs. So some collision control basics on February 26th. So that should be helpful for a lot of people. Definitely. And this recording will be there in that area on the forums. So it does look like there's a little conversation going on in the chat. Someone was kind of taking a survey of some other uses for Python and plant simulation. Stefan, would you like to talk about what you've seen?
Data preprocessing is really interesting and important, and you get access to other databases that are more potent now. For instance, to MariaDB, which is used by Amazon. There are integrated modules in Python for easy access them, and you can use the frameworks for creating web applications for Python, and you can easily connect them with plant simulation through the COM library.
Okay, so Noam, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Edith. So Stefan, first of all, really nice. I think you showed at least everything, right? Not just putting it in plant simulation, but also how to create the Python. I think really good. In that context, again, different uses, but for those of us who prepare demos, for example, one example, and Stefan mentioned using it to process data. And I think somebody shared some example about creating stuff. So yeah, a lot of work can be done with Python to create different sets of data that you can start building models from. It's much faster when you do it, in a demo that you can really have a fairly large model fairly quickly. And again, Stefan, I share your experience with ChatGPT 4.0 or Mistral. For some reason, it shows us SimTalk 1.0, but it's again, it can guide you in the right direction if you need it, but be careful from falling into rabbit holes, because sometimes it really takes you in the wrong direction. So that's just a comment for everybody. So thanks.
Thank you. Any examples available for web application with Python? Yes, I wrote a chapter for my new book, and I try to make here a webinar, but it's really complicated because we need HTTP server, and you need some setting on your computer. But yes, there will be a webinar for this. And not replace any details on how Python will replace the interface package, not replace. It's like a shortcut. We can access from Python databases. The default database for Python is SQLite. This we don't need to access with Python. We can access this directly from Plant Simulation, but you can access easily MySQL and this and MariaDB, for instance, and you don't need the connection with ODBC. You can direct it. You can connect directly via a Python package. This also I will show in a webinar.
And I would say, as a representative for the community forums, a reminder that they definitely, this recording, previous recordings, future recordings will all be there in our customer community. You can even see Stefan's profile in the community there if you click the link on screen where his name is. But yeah, it looks like Rohit was asking, how can I create 3D graphs? So.
Go into the internet, look in the documentation of Matplotlib, and there you can find a lot of 3D stuff. You need a lot of data, and you have a lot of configuration, but it's just ask the AI. They will give you an answer. You only need to know how the name of the diagram is, and then it's all the large language models are so good trained for Python. They will create, in most cases, a code that is running.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you do think of something you didn't say today, definitely check us out in the forums. Leave a message. You can mention Stefan there, and you can find me there as well.
Yes, and if you have some wishes for new topics, then please post this also in the forum, or write to me an email. Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
See you next time.